Hello and welcome to another Saturday morning with Trusler and Mac. I'm Trusler. How you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Huh. And with me is Mac. How you doing, Mac?
Good. Apparently, there is no G's in this opening. It's devoid of any G's. So that means I'm egg Reg. Oh no, Reg. Because he's saying doing I don't have to explain myself. People, use your noggins. I'm doing actually really good. I've been playing a lot of games recently, which is probably why I haven't seen any content from me aside from these Saturday mornings. But I actually am really enjoying myself. It's a topic to get into for another day about the best seasons for gaming, and people think that's ridiculous. You just game when you want to. I'm like, no, man. There are some seasons where you want to game more than others, and I'm telling you this now. Winter. I mean, for obvious reasons, it's bloody cold, and you want to basically do any of your activity inside. But there's something to be said about, I know, being in this comfortable place in your own home while the outside is blazing cold and just immersing yourself in gaming. And probably the other thing, of course, is when you're sick. Luckily, I haven't gotten sick yet, but I seem to be more focused on games because it takes away from the pain and whatever ickiness you are feeling with. So summer, for me, it's interesting because I do play games in summer, but I like to watch a lot more videos for some odd reason. It's kind of a weird thing, and of course, like to hop around as well. But just to backpedal what I'm saying, playing a lot of games.
That's kind of weird because, like, I don't know, if I get all warm and toasty or something because it's cold out or something, I just fall asleep. I can't play games. Even if I am trying to play a game and I get all warm and toasty, I'm like, I'll just crash mid-game.
Because I don't know what it is. Like in most winter nights, I have to be basically in bed, and I'm not sleepy, but I have to be doing something, and that's why I love handhelds, and that's why I love the Wii U, man. My Wii U is actually, my bedroom is in range of my games room, and I have zero lag from my Wii U gamepad. And so I could play any of the Wii U games. I could also watch Netflix flawlessly, so I've got this little mini TV.
It can't be beat.
It can't be beaten. I love how so many people sort of rag on it. It's like, it's a fantastic machine that just had some unfortunate game flow issues, which we'll say. Maybe that can be addressed in a couple of weeks, though, so who knows. Actually, it might be addressed tomorrow, because I actually don't have this on my itinerary, but just want to let some people know that on the 31st of May, Nintendo's having a Direct in Japan. So maybe some surprises, hopefully.
People will be excited.
Yes, they will.
Hopefully.
Hopefully there'll be some surprises. I know there's some big RPG projects in the production. I know Capcom's banking all their money on their very first quote-unquote story-based Monster Hunter game. So,
that's kind of a frightening proposition.
Well, that was the only thing that was really missing. Even though there was dialogue and there was sort of like this, I wouldn't say narrative, but it's kind of plot. But this one's more traditional. It's got the anime sort of vibe, so it's, alright. I wish them the best, but I reckon that's definitely 100% going to be in that direct, so. But anyway, who would like the floor to get the ball rolling?
I'll punch one out here real quick, and then because you got a lot more than I, so
that I do.
So I'll do a quick one real quick, and then you can have the floor. First one, boom, GameStop profits up, sadness abound. That is rating here is that GameStop has seen its profits rise as it moves beyond just doing retail games. So, and I think they're trying to get into doing, like, selling t-shirts and things like that as well.
Yeah.
So, for whoever hates GameStop, the legacy continues because they're not going the way of Blockbuster. They have avoided that crisis.
No, EB Games is basically GameStop here, and they've opened their secondary store. I don't know the name of it, but apparently next to most EB Games, they're going to have a store where it's just going to be nothing but T-shirts and figurines and all kinds of merchandise. So that's...
They're calling it some loot or some shit, and I wanted to die after hearing that they were calling all of this merchandise loot, because it's like the most asinine word to use for it. Here's a bunch of loot!
Because we braved this dungeon of a 4-foot square store to gain this quote-unquote loot that we have exchanged for our currency. Yeah. Kind of takes away the meaning.
Well, I mean, like, it's, they got, they what do they call them, loot crates or something?
Yeah.
It pains me. It's just like, these are words that you're using that aren't really, it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. And just to reiterate, audience, he's going on about the naming, the wording, not the content itself.
Right. If you want a t-shirt,
then we'd have discussion, because that's kind of a third of the reason why I joined YouTube. That's where the swag and RPG swag man comes from.
I've already said how terrible that was that he used that word.
I know. and I've kind of paid for it throughout the years, which I'm trying to rethink the word.
But yeah, like the whole shirts and stuff like that, I mean, it's a smart business move on their part to go that direction. Because if you are multifaceted, or at least you have a wide range of merchandise, if one thing starts to kind of lag behind, you're able to kind of keep it afloat with other sort of things. So.
Yeah. The store wouldn't get that much business from me, because my desire for t-shirts and figurines are usually from some more obscure stuff that no one in Australia would even think about importing. However, there is one series that I would think in that store that I would buy kind of a lot of stuff for, and that is good old Legend of Zelda. I have no doubt they're going to stock a crap ton of Legend of Zelda stuff in those stores, and they'll get suckers like me. It's like, oh my god, there's another Triforce shirt. I don't have 10 million of them already.
What's those things that are got the really long loop, or are they called lanyards or something?
Lanyards.
Yeah.
I've always thought that was one of the weirdest words I've ever heard. Ever. Like when someone's like describing, I call them those neck thingy my job, and I think it might have been Pete Dorr that was the first person to say lanyards. Like, what did you say? Lanyard. I was like, I need to look back in how this became to be. Why is it called a lanyard? Because I like if you call like something a necktie and you wear it around your neck, that kind of makes sense. But a lanyard, it's like, okay, is it named after a guy whose last name was Lanyard, or
right? The etymology of that word, you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother's got one of Zelda, and he told me that his Italian teacher had spotted it, and I guess he started asking him which one was his favorite and stuff. And my brother kind of surprises me in that regard, because I don't see him as a huge Zelda fan, but he loves to buy a bunch of Zelda stuff. So.
It's amazing. Zelda is one of those much beloved series that you will just meet people off the street, if you're wearing a Zelda shirt, and they'll go like I've lived in a place where there isn't much positivity, but whenever I wore a Zelda shirt, I met some wonderful people. That just like telling me I was awesome for wearing a Zelda shirt. That's like I went to the bank. I went to the bank. I did like the teller didn't want to say anything at first, but then the teller's like, "Man, that's an awesome T-shirt. Ocarina of Time forever." And I'm just like, yes. I'm just like, seriously. I love the fact that one of my most beloved series has this. I don't want to say the word street cred, but it kind of does, and I'm really happy about that.
Many a gaming virgins pop their cherry to Ocarina of Time.
And you know what's so funny? It's most of the hardcore gamers I've met in Australia. They're the ones that don't think much of Zelda. It's like, oh, it's overrated. I'm just like, why? Why is it overrated? Please tell me. Iterate.
It's overrated,
Discuss.
Greg, because I said so, and that is all that matters.
Ah, man.
If you are too not understanding and can't, unobservant to understand why this is the case, then you are none the wiser.
None the wiser. I haven't heard that phrase in a long time, so it's awesome someone brought that up.
So, yes, I'm stuck in the past. But yeah, so if people, wanted GameStop to go away, they're probably going to have to wait a bit longer. So, over to you there, Mr.
Okay.
Mr. Mac.
Mackin' something. Alright. Square Enix has got everyone's attention, right, because they surprisingly have their own conference at E3, but a bit of information has basically been teased, rumored, that they're going to be announcing several games, not talking about games, announcing several games, planning IP reboots and collaborations, and Square Enix executives made a point saying, unlike years prior, we think it'd be a great opportunity missed if we didn't make some great collaboration projects with other companies that are really, basically really good at this era of making games. Hence why they've kind of they've hunted Tecmo Koei, because it seems that it's a company that understood the PS3 generation and understands sort of not really the PS4 generation, because I've had so many bugs with their games. Come the PS4 generation, so they may need some Q&A there. But I can understand why they want to do more collaboration projects, and I'm really happy they are. I think they've got some really cool collaboration games they've had in the past, but that's sort of been in-house, like the Itagaki Street, But then they've done some collaborations with Nintendo, like their version of Itagaki Street, which became Boom Street, that had Dragon Quest and Mario characters. So, the question remains, who would you like to collaborate with? Like
me personally, or companies?
Yeah, you personally. Like,
me personally.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, everyone else can say their ideas in the comment section after they listen to this recording, but you first.
Oh, no, I was kind of being joking, saying me personally, who would I like to collaborate with, or the company?
Yeah, who would like Square Enix to collaborate with?
Square Enix? Maybe Falcom, so they can understand how to make a good game.
At least the story would be amazing.
Right.
Well, and we're talking about Square Enix, and I'm not mentioning Yuji Horii, because most of his Dragon Quest games are amazing. So
right, he's already busy doing Dragon Quest stuff.
Which I'm going to be talking about in a second.
Yeah.
But look, it's Square Enix. I'm always cautious of them. I can get excited. 13 will always be that boogeyman in the corner, like, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not getting excited. I'm just going to play it cool. And you know what's so funny is 13 is still the most controversial game in Square Enix's itinerary. Like, I think one of the comments I saw when they announced this news was, it's going to be a reboot of 13, and I'm just like, oh goodness.
It's just like the generation, or whatever you want to say, of the whole fiasco with 8. Everybody was just like, oh, this game's terrible, and there were some people like, it's amazing, kind of thing. So,
which is weird for me, because that game's 50-50. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad in that game, and I'm not.
It warrants why some people are like, this is terrible. Oh, this is great, kind of.
Like, I think it's one of the best games visually on the PS1. Some of the gameplay elements is questionable. Some of the story is very varied. Some parts are really good, some parts are really bland, It's one of those games, whereas, like, 13's gameplay is simply, in my words, unforgivable. Like, it is an unplayable game. It's like, and I don't know how I beat it.
Because you don't play it, you just let it play itself.
Yeah. And like you try to play the way you want to, and you get penalized for it, which is like, that's just terrible. Like, usually you get penalized if you do auto battle. That's how I've always seen most games. Because you do a quick fix, but you run the risk of you're having your entire party wiped out. That's my understanding. Not the other way around. that just we're not going to get into it because I throughout the years of me being on YouTube, I've just had so many arguments with 13. I just feel like I'm looking forward to the day where I just don't even think about it. I really don't. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they announce. After the PlayStation Now sort of, what was it? The PlayStation event that was back in December. People are a little bit scared after the guy came out saying Final Fantasy VII will be on PS4 at upscaled original graphics. And ever since then, people are really worried.
Oh, so, I giggled.
we'll see. And I'm of the opinion that I love Final Fantasy VII, so I'll probably get it. So, alrighty, next up, and this is some pretty awesome news for someone who really loves Dragon Quest VIII. For all of you who don't know, that's my favorite game on the PS2. Number one favorite video game, not just RPG. My favorite game on the PS2. So I was wondering if this port to the 3DS was just going to be a straight port, nothing else. Well, apparently it's not. Two of the game's most prominent NPCs are going to be playable in this version. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. Basically, Yangus has this longtime friend / rival called Red, and she's kind of like this bounty hunter, and she was in a couple bits of the game, and she was a very interesting looking character, and like she really stood out of the pack. So when she was announced that she was going to be playable, it's like that's actually understandable. She's also in the spin-off prequel game Yangus's Mystery Dungeon, so she must have got some kind of cult following. So cool, she's in there. The last character. If I did a top 10 list of some of my most hilarious characters in video games, Mori from Dragon Quest VIII is high up. That guy makes me roll on the ground laughing. He's hilarious. He's now also playable, which is fantastic. He's the owner of the Monster Arena, because in Dragon Quest VIII, there's this awesome Monster Arena where you take some of the monsters that you have found on the battlefield, on the world map, and you make parties of 3. This is the game that I think it was kind of a mini-game or homage to the old Monsters games on the GBA. And then after Dragon Quest VIII, they're like, wow, we can make a game out of this. So they made the Joker's Monsters games. But it's really cool that Mori's okay. You have to play the game. Some of his dialogue, the innuendo in his dialogue is like, if you want to know entirely what I'm getting at, he has this sort of sleazy Italian porno vibe about this character in a leotard. The ecstasy of the Monster Arena!
Oh, wow.
He's really funny, and the fact he's playable, that is awesome. So it's gone from 4 characters to 6 characters, which is awesome. Now, here's something that I want to debate with the game, and I fully now understand what this game's going to look like. This is going to be basically like Xenoblade Chronicles for the new 3DS. Sadly, though, this is pretty awesome because more people get to play it. I think this is just going to run on the normal 3DS hardware. Saying that, I did notice that the textures are not that great, but they're not horrible. For a 3DS game, they are great, but they're not going to reach PS2 like high-end levels. Like the PS2 version still remains the best looking. So if you're all about graphics, then just keep your PS2 copy. If you don't care and you want one of the best RPGs on the go, this looks like a great version of the game. I know some people are condemning it because it doesn't look as good as the PS2. It's like, can't you find the middle ground? Hey, this looks presentable as a handheld version of an 80 to 100 hour fucking game. You know? People forget that this is a long game. Not as long as 7, but it's still a long game. And the visuals, for the most part, look like Dragon Quest VIII, so I have nothing to complain there. But I also realize that it doesn't look as good, but doesn't bother me at the slightest. It's going to have the orchestrated soundtrack, and it's going to have the voiceovers, especially in Japan, where they didn't have the orchestrated soundtrack and the voiceovers in their version, so for them, this is probably going to be a really desirable version of Dragon Quest VIII. So,
well, definitely for me, since I never actually got the chance to play it. So, it's just never just circumstances have not allowed it. So for me, this is I'll wait. Any sort of idea when that's supposed to come about, or
August for Japan.
Sweet. So yeah, I will totally give that a go.
And just to continue on, Yuji Horii teases that we may see a new Dragon Quest game soon for the PlayStation. They've already hinted
PS1,
this.
got it.
The PS1, yes. It's going to be Dragon Quest 4 after all these years. That would have been awesome. But in America, by the way, yes, hardcore Dragon Quest fans, we know it exists in Japan. But yeah, look, he already teased that Dragon Quest 11 could be coming for PlayStation. It just, from this news report, it sounds like it's going to be sooner, maybe. So maybe at E3 he'll come out and say, Dragon Quest 11! And we and the whole world rejoiced. Because he mentioned that he wants to basically market 11 worldwide, which is good. There's not going to be that, we need this localized uphill battles, thankfully. So, the only concern for me, of course, it's not online. You know, it's just a nice console.
Right.
Classic Dragon Quest.
That would be nice, because that's kind of what killed me with the whole Final Fantasy thing, was going online and stuff, and I've just kind of never been able to get back into it really as much since.
So we'll see. And apparently there was another Dragon Quest game that's going to be made by old Cavia people. It's like, wait, people who made Dragon Guard and Yin wants to make a Dragon Quest game?
Right.
That kind of doesn't... That's going to be a really fucking dark Dragon Quest game. If you only played a game from Cavia, they're not exactly subtle. If they're games. In the Japanese RPG spectrum, I would call them probably the most dark games, to be honest. Really, really fucked up. But it would be interesting to see what they pump out. Could be just a mobile phone game, who knows. And just sort of like to end sort of... No, you know what? I'll just cut it there with the Square Enix news and I shall pass it over to Taylor.
Right. Let's see here. Okay, this came up today. And I kind of giggled about it. And it was... Konami put out this apology. And I used this word apology really loosely. For causing worry, but are still planning on making games for... the console or PC, and they're claiming that they're not going to completely neglect it, and that they're wanting to just expand their library and all this sort of thing and whatnot. And I'm just kind of it was really really silly.
We'll see what happens. I mean, they've made their point that they want to put their ventures in other markets, sure, but yeah, the whole song and dance, it wasn't really needed. And if you're going to make games for PC, I will interject saying that Suikoden 1 and 2 for Steam would be amazing. Just to get more people to play the games. That would be awesome, so just throwing that out there. But it's good that they're not sort of abandoning it full force, but just people need to put in perspective that most of the basically the front guardsmen, if you recall, like the people that work there, mostly there are no longer going to work there. Right. So you're going to know there's going to be a difference in content. So it's up to you if you want to take the chance, but I reckon it'll be different. Like, there's so many different fan bases of Konami. Like, you've got, Suikoden, you've got Castlevania, Metal Gear Solid. Contra, I can't fathom the Contra fan base. It's pretty fanatical. Because, nothing against the game. I actually don't mind Contra, but I'm not like, oh my god, it's the greatest running Contra ever. Nah, it's just a cool game.
I enjoy it. It's just, I've only played, like, the first one, Super C, which is really hard to play on the 3DS, because I'm afraid I'm going to break my 3DS, and Alien Wars.
I did want to play, was it Super Contra Free or something? Oh my god, that looks interesting.
Which one's that one?
Contra Free.
That's Alien Wars, I think.
That's Alien.
I think. I want to say that is on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's a lot of fun. That one. That's the one I kind of played the most as a kid, and I enjoyed it.
But other than that, like they just had plenty of others like that. Rocket Knight Adventure. That was very short lived. Like they've done a lot of stuff, so it'd be interesting to see what they want to do. And most importantly, if you're going to go in a new direction, maybe some new IPs is the way to go to see if you can get a new fan base going. But
right.
we'll
I mean, yeah, it's something to kind of think about. You know, if your sales are lagging, or your profits are kind of lagging behind and whatnot, and you're worried about the future of the company, don't be upset when other people from that like the earlier stuff are like, "Rah!" So
which I'm going to get into very soon. But do you have another?
I only have a couple left, so like you said, you had a bunch, so I'll pass it back to you.
Okay, very quickly, very silly. Someone who loves figurines, they're awesome, but they're not worth hijacking a truck for. Basically what happened, a shipment of Nintendo Amiibos in the UK got hijacked because suddenly they're basically, to some people, the same price as crack cocaine. So, like, we're going to have shady Amiibo dealers in the streets of the UK. Really sad. Like, seriously, I mean, they're taking, like, there's a lot of people probably excited to get, like, the Splatoon Amiibos and all that. Excited, and then just had to get this message saying, I'm sorry to unforeseen circumstances, which I'm like, I think all sort of PC-ness is out the door. You'd be like, some fucker stole your Amiibos. we're really sorry. If you have the means to hire a bounty hunter to bring these people to justice, we will understand.
It's pretty bad when, you know, you just go around hijacking giant, delivery trucks full of Amiibos.
Yeah.
You know, you go from the train robberies of the West to fucking stealing Amiibos of a damn truck. Fucking sad. Oh,
Yes.
God.
John Dillinger, like, wow.
Well, I mean, but it's just there's no ruggedness or any, like, it's such a pathetic thing to try to be stealing to get money for.
Yeah.
It's really, oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's so silly.
Right, and it is unfortunate that anybody want to buy them, but I mean, it's just, as you say, people shouldn't be PC about it. They should be like, sorry kids, we can't sell you these things because some fucking twat thought it would be a cool idea to steal our trucks full of them.
Yeah, but yeah, they're just on that. Like, the sad end of the story, which will never happen, is to have armored cars for Amiibos. The same structure that needs to safeguard people's money is to safeguard plastic figurines.
Wait, that's what they're doing?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, so that's like the worst case scenario. I'm just like, you don't need to go that far, but that'd be crazy if they need to.
That'd be loony. Like,
Alright,
Looney Tunes kind of loony. Looney Tunes kind of loony. So.
Which Looney Tunes?
I don't know. Not the kids one. The old one.
Oh man. Anyway, like Fire Emblem, there is another game we talk about. I mean, we're very close to making a segment, but honestly, this is a segment that would probably eventually end, so we're not going to do it. But it's a game that I like to talk about weekly, and that is Bloodstained. And they've got some more news to do with this wonderful Kickstarter. The Eager's biggest castle goal was funded, which is going to be awesome.
Was that the 3 million one?
2.75 million.
Oh, okay.
The 3 million goal, which is something that everyone's been clamoring for, is the Wii U version. So that extra sort of contingent's like, I want this from the Wii U and nothing else. Well, they're going to have Wii U, so everyone's flooded in. It's like, yes, here's my extra money. And they're about 90,000 away from meeting that. So that will let everyone of this generation play Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is awesome. However, as an old school Castlevania fan, there was another piece of news that had me grinning from ear to ear, and I was like, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. I love voice acting. I've done a bit of amateur voice acting in my time. I actually, when it comes to my Twitter page, I actually am subscribed to a lot of American voice actors because they're cool people and they voice cool characters. There was one voice actor, didn't really make it his sort of industry. It was sort of like something he did off to the side in the 90s. And he's pretty awesome. And he voiced a very iconic character by the name of Alucard from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And I've always said to myself, his voice is one in a million. It's so other-earthly. It's like you look at this guy and Alucard looks like he's in his 30s, 40s. But then he has this voice that feels like someone who's been an immortal for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it was perfect. And I thought, well, we'll never hear this guy again until now. He's been tapped to provide a voice in Bloodstain.
Da-da-da.
So, as an old school Castlevania fan, I'm like, yes! That is so awesome. Because I really liked... I know the thing is I'm one of a few, because there's a lot of bad voice acting websites that usually list his voice. I'm like, what? Get the fuck out of here. It's a great performance. And, like, I have to deal with people that think that Symphony of the Night is a bad dubbed game. Like, I'm not saying it's Oscar-worthy, but it fit Castlevania for me.
Mm.
And like the echo, like they have that extra echo and all that jazz. I liked it, and the fact that they're bringing back this guy, what's his name, Robert Belgrade, yeah. For the fans, that's great. That's fantastic. They've got David Hayter for old Konami fans, and they've got Robbie Belgrade for the old Castlevania fans. So. Well, Symphony of the Night fans, anyway.
I kind of wonder if that echo was just because it was taking place in a castle and it was.
Yeah, they did that.
Okay.
They did that purposely. Yeah. A lot of people are like, that's weird. They're in a fucking huge castle. It's nothing weird about it.
Yeah, but I mean, there is that suspension of disbelief where it's like, they may be in some sort of huge castle or something, but I expect the sound quality to be just immaculate, sort of thing.
I mean, that game wasn't already immaculate enough with everything else they tried to do for the time. Seriously, like the way they did we've already explained it in a perfect episode how much I love Symphony of the Night, how much love TLC went into the game. So, but it's awesome that they've got the voice of Alucard to return. Who knows who he's going to voice? But the fact that they're going to have Alucard and a good old Snake together, that's pretty awesome. So. Alrighty, I shall shoot it back to you.
Alright, so allegedly on some sort of Russian game site, the Steam summer sales for 2015 dates were leaked, going from June 11th to June 22nd. So, wallets beware.
We already hinted that it was coming soon, so now we have a specific date, and I will...
Well, wouldn't say it's nailed down, but that was the leaked date, so it might change a little bit. I mean, that's what it was last year. It was around this time, or around that time, so...
But as we said before, if RPG Maker happens to be on sale, best time, scoop it up. So.
Yeah, so if... I personally have never really checked it out during the sales sort of thing, so I might give it a peek to see if there's anything worth getting for super cheap, but...
Well, hopefully one day, I mean, you've already played these games to oblivion like I have, but you'll soon realize why I love Steam if you play one of the Falcom games that's optimized for Steam. Except for Trails in the Sky, which I still have to say to them, there's still bugs. I don't want to be clicking on programs in the background when I'm playing my game.
That's challenge mode, Greg. Come on.
Oh, it's screw your computer up mode. That freaked me out when I clicked on the YouTube video and emerged into the game and it came up like a slushy. And I freaked out because I thought my computer was like crashing. And I was like, holy shit. So it's so funny. I was so looking forward to playing Trails in the Sky on my PC. And it's the one Falcom game I'm just like, I love the PSP version, don't get me wrong. But I just want this to be optimized. But playing the East games on Steam just is so immaculate. It's so fun.
Well, my laptop isn't the greatest. So, I mean, that'd have to be down the road. But I mean, I have East Origin. I have these games, and
Yeah.
I'm at that kind of juncture where I don't want to really. If I don't
Double
right. If I already have it, it's not really much of a point for me to get it. I mean, yeah, I could say, oh, I'm getting it in English, but if I understand the Japanese one, it doesn't really matter. So.
You know me, I'm the Falcom fanatic. There is no double dipping. There's no dip left. So, it's all go.
Don't think that's quite how you want to phrase that.
I know.
Goodness. And I'll just. No, I was gonna
go,
say.
You go.
I'll just rattle off the last piece here, and that is the infamous Second Son Studio Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
They're actually looking for concept artists. So, if anybody is looking for that sort of thing, they should totally try to give it a go.
You know, this is actually a really good mini segment that you're providing yourself. It's kind of like a community job board for game developers, for the kind of the humble listeners who might be listening that may have skills. I actually think it's really cool that you do this. So I'll have to make it a segment of sorts in the future. Like
hiring.
Yeah. Like any wanted ads, kind of like giving back to the community, just like echoing, just like, hey, anyone who wants to work for these companies, you got a specific skill set, yeah, here it is. I think the people they'll be looking for is anyone that can work in a sandbox environment, of course, because that's kind of like their jam. Games like Infamous.
For the concept art, I think they were looking for people who were very.
Yeah.
I know it's a bad word to say when it comes to art, but something unique and very different. So,
yeah. When it comes to, but yeah, there is kind of difference for concept art for like a sandbox game is just a shit ton of terrain and environments, like just throwing it out there. Like when you have to do a city, I admire people that can create really detailed cities. You know, I like character art is good and all, but when you can create structures from the norm, because there's been games for so many years, everyone's seen like 50 million different types of castles. So it's awesome when one person can step forward and give like a different variation and stands out. I love, I don't know how you feel, but this is a weird thing for me, but back in the 90s when I played my RPGs, I loved it when I loved the little sort of castle sprites they used to do on the world map. It used to be like
yeah.
Like I used to get a kick out of like, oh, we're going to a town. Oh my god, we're going to a castle town. Like Leafy Tooth ones. Like you see town, you see a castle town, you're like, oh my god, that's awesome. Then there'll be some RPGs where they just went that extra step and they just created different sort of castles. And they did all of the Suikoden 2 is the best example. They actually never did the same sort of town icon twice, which is amazing. Like that was just so good to look at. But hopefully there'll be they can tap some awesome concept artists, you know. That's one thing about DeviantArt is people think it's just amateur work. I've seen some amazing work on DeviantArt. Like being a big fan of June, someone did their concept art for some of the characters in the June series, and I basically said, alrighty, you should take this to Bethesda and you should try and greenlight a June RPG with these these character designs because they would be amazing. But hope it works out.
So, alright, I'm tapped for the info. I apologize, everybody. I was too spent on other things to look up more. So, take us home, Greg.
Alrighty, there is no Fire Emblem news this week. There was, but this is actually the one type of Fire Emblem news that I don't want to talk about because they were just talking about characters. I'm like, that's where I kind of draw the line. With, like, if there was something really interesting about the characters, I'd talk about it. But at this point, it's like, that's something I just want to leave for Taylor to sink his teeth into. Because there was just, like, brief character bios, and they weren't worth sort of discussing, you know. So
I'd mentioned this to Greg before the recording, or did I mention it? No, I don't. No, I think I mentioned it before the recording. Lines are being blurred, but usually when it comes to a lot of the Fire Emblem and Dragon Quest stuff, I can leave it to him because I know he'll be on top of it. So this way I can get the news firsthand and be like super excited too, or very.
However, there is no Fire Emblem news. But the Falcom fanatic comes full force with 2 pieces for Saturday mornings in Trusler and Mac.
Yay!
The first one, we're going to have a little bit of debate. It's not really a debate between me and Taylor, because I think we're going to agree on a lot of things. First up, we're going to talk about Tokyo Xanadu, and part of me is really excited for this game. Part of me is really cautious. I've seen a lot of screenshots. I've seen a lot of character art. Most of the characters have been announced, and they announced the newest character, who is the school delinquent. That's what I'm going to get into right here about these quote-unquote contemporary Tokyo RPGs. Now, there's some things about these RPGs to be said that they're great. Like, aesthetically, they're cool. Here's the problem I have with them, is character and party structure is probably the most cliched compared to other different sort of genres or subgenres. Like, you know, people could say the same about fantasy RPGs. Like, there's always the swordsman, there's always the giant axeman, there's always the female healer, so forth and so forth. But I've played enough fantasy RPGs to know a little bit of variance, as well as sci-fi RPGs. Like, you know, there's a little bit of variance there. Like, of course, you'll have the RPGs where you've got the ship's captain, you've got the ship's navigator, all that jazz. But that gets sort of a free pass because you need those people to operate a starship. It doesn't operate itself out of thin air. What I'm leading to with these Tokyo sort of RPGs is they have the schoolyard structure that they want to hit all the sort of like the character archetypes. And Tokyo Xanadu, sadly, is one of those games that just reinforces those character archetypes. You have the quiet overachiever. You have the female student body president who is also from a billionaire family.
God damn it.
Stop doing that. Seriously.
Please, for the love of Christ.
Do something different. Then you've got the school delinquent, who's like the big strong-arm character. And then you've got sort of like this... Look, they're the three that's come forth. It's like, okay. Usually I'd be like, this is Falcom. I'm going to give them a pass. They're some of the best writers in the industry. I want to see where they can take the genre. That's my only iteration. But I just want to put it out there that I am concerned a little bit. Gameplay-wise, I really need to see it more in motion before I can, you know, make heads or tails of it.
Right. Now,
a couple of years ago when Sen no Kiseki was released, Taylor and I in a Skype chat, we had back and forths about how the game looked, and I was kind of worried at first. But then I actually played 10 hours of Sen no Kiseki, and for some odd reason, I really, really like how the game looks on the Vita. It looks really cool, and I have no problems with the games graphically. A lot of people do, though, and I seem to be one of the people that I just went from being kind of nervous, then I played the game, it's like, oh, this is fucking cool. You know, that's how I thought. And visually, I actually like the look of Tokyo Xanadu. Like, I've seen a lot of screenshots, I've seen a lot of cutscene dialogues, like with the delinquent character, and like they're like in the middle of the night, they're in like the suburbs. I think the delinquent has like a father who runs a dojo or something like that, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So there, as much as I could say that the character archetypes are very cliched, at least I know it's Falcom. They're going to try and tell somewhat of a dramatic story, which is going to be awesome compared to the mountain of over-the-top, quirky, anime-esque RPGs that's coming out of Japan. So that's what it's got stand above the rest. And the fact it's an exclusive game for the Vita.
That helps, but this is... I mean, as much as I love Falcom, this is hitting all those things I don't care for. I tolerated Sen simply because it is interconnected with, you know, Soto no Kiseki, Ao no Kiseki, Seto no Kiseki, like all those other kind of Kiseki games, Trails of games. Sen I tolerated, even though it had that fucking stupid school atmosphere. I don't like it. I don't really care for it.
I think I already told you about my reasoning. The reason why I don't give like Class 7 crap compared to other sort of school-based classes is because they are families of noble families who eventually want to basically seek power, and that's in my mindset why I like them a lot more. Is I kind of like their backgrounds, you know?
Right. They're a little bit more. Yeah, it's not just like only one of them super rich or something. There's a few of them that are like super rich, and then some of them that aren't that rich at all, but have very famous family members.
Yeah.
But it's still
Where it's like Tokyo Xanadu, there's going to probably be less focused on that. The only reason the billionaire family, because they're going to have the means to contact the world of Xanadu. That's what I'm calling it. They're going to have the technology to deal with the world of Xanadu trying to morph into the real world. That's just my
right.
I guess.
Probably.
So yeah. So I'll leave it up. Like the thing about Tokyo Xanadu though, haven't known about, and of course it's Falcom's greatest asset. We haven't heard music from it yet, and that's going to be the thing that's going to take the game home, just to see what style of music they're going to put into the game.
I'm frightened because if it's in a modern setting and stuff like that, you're going to get a lot of very like modern music, which I mean,
are you worried that Falcom's going to turn to J-pop?
They might have some of that in there. I mean more of just kind of some very modern kind of, I don't want to say scratch music, but just kind of a lot of like house and just new age, a lot of just newer stuff.
We'll see. Like if they can make it sort of closer to East, where they can sort of rock out with your heart out. But sort of have that feel. It's not rocking out in the medieval fantasy world, rocking out in Tokyo. So we'll see what happens. But at least that's the only thing we know nothing about, and that's the thing that can sort of surprise us at this point. So I'm getting it without fail. So I think it's going to be an interesting year where Taylor's going to be first to get Fire Emblem Myth, and he'll be the one I'll be talking to, and he'll probably pick my brains for Tokyo Xanadu. So. We'll see what happens. Now, here's the big news, and Taylor can actually help back me up to say that this is happening, like, because I haven't beaten Sen no Kiseki 2.
Okay.
So it seems that the Erebonian Saga is going to be a trilogy.
God damn it. I mean, it doesn't surprise me just because of how it ends, but if they treat 3 like they did with 2, I'll have a fucking aneurysm, because 2 was stretched out unnecessarily. It honestly felt like they had like a 1 1/3 worth of game story to tell, and it got stretched out to 2 games. That's what it kind of felt like. Yeah,
and I don't want to comment too much because I haven't played the game. I do want to comment saying that I'm obsessed with Sen no Kiseki 2's opening. I actually listened to it 7 times yesterday.
Jeez.
I love it. It's so good.
I like the endings. I like both the endings for Sen 1 and 2.
Like, for anyone, like, it's sad. I can't recommend everyone watch the Sen 2 trailer because of that fucking opening scene. It pisses me off. But when you listen to that opening theme, like in a warlike setting, it just meshes perfectly. It's so good, and I'm actually excited to play most of the Sen games. Actually, I'm actually nearly at that point to continue on with Sen no Kiseki. Despite the rumors that Trails of Cold Steel is going to be announced soon, but it's not going to, because a lot of the Falcom fan base is having a back and forth this week that someone in the UK listed Trails of Cold Steel on their website to pre-order. And people are like, why they did that? And people are like, no, oh my god, it's coming out soon. So there's been a lot of like obnoxious back and forth, let's just say. A lot of people trying to tell it as it is, a lot of people sort of like getting really overhyped. So
I feel sorry for you guys, because this is like this is just nonsense that you guys have to deal with. Well, it's coming, no, it's not. It sucks that when it first came out on the PSP, it was ported from the PC games and then altered in different ways and whatnot. And too bad for everybody else, but the PSP is loved in Japan, and that kind of caused it to kind of shit the bed, I think, and not get sent overseas. But
of course, the biggest disappointment, of course, is Zero and Out. Someone who's been both Zero and Out, they are amazing games. Like Owl.
Now you know. Now you know.
Owl, well, both Zero and Owl, but especially Owl is a technical marvel for the PSP. Like, I would like to break that down, why this is amazing, and the fact that this is on a PSP. You know,
On
like
not just a PS, but on only one UMD.
yeah, on one UMD as well. Good point.
It's pretty insane.
Here's my thought that may get a smile out of your face. Wouldn't it be amazing if this wasn't Sen no Kiseki 3, but rather Sen no Kiseki the Third, and it's another story about Kevin?
Well, that would be... Well, the thing with the Third, and you and I have kind of talked about this a little bit before, it's called the Third because it's different, but it's like a tangent.
Yeah.
It's this weird tangent from, FC or FC and SC, and this tangent is awfully goddamn important because it covers a whole lot of stuff going on, but it's also talking. It goes into Kevin's history and why he is what he is and what he can do, what he does, and just it also remedies a problem that had been going on for a while that finally kind of gets nipped in the butt. It's like, because you had said, didn't you say something that a lot of people say, skip the Third, there's no point in playing the Third?
Yeah, a lot of people, because there's a lot of people saying that, and from what I've seen, I was like, fuck no.
Well, for starters, I think the Third probably has the best music of the three. I think it's really good.
Cry for me, cry for you. Holy shit!
just all of that, like Phantasmagoria and Overloading Heavenly Bliss. I mean, it's just a great soundtrack. But there is a lot of stuff that seems very, in the grand scope of things, it might not. It's kind of like Feast for Crows with J.R.R. Martin is his Game of Thrones books. That book, Feast for Crows, people fucking hate that book. They're like, this is boring, this is slow, why is this going, why are we going into this much detail about it? It's because those details are important for one reason or another, and it's supposed to make things fuller, and that's what the Third is doing. The Third is, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure because you really don't need to be playing it, but in the same hand, if you don't, you are going to miss out on a huge chunk of stuff that I think is going to become very important, probably with the Third probably coming to, or the next step of the Kiseki games.
This was my idea as well, and you might get a kick out of it, that it wouldn't be just Kevin, it wouldn't be just Reese. I know I pronounced that wrong so many times.
I think like
a certain third character from Zero and Al that's sort of in the same organization. Have them as a trio. Oh my god, that would be so amazing.
Yeah, because Kevin gets a pretty sweet one of his I can't even think what they're called. One of his specials is Tio has it as well. It's kind of like this ultimate defense thing that pops up.
Yeah.
And if he gets 200 CP and he uses it, it allows you to take 2 hits without.
Oh my god, I already love him, because I used to spam Zero Field all the fucking time in both games, especially that final battle.
It helps. It helps.
But it didn't help that the final boss could do it as well for his sort of offlings, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But I learned the cheat. There was a programming cheat where you don't kill all the offlings, you keep one alive, and it actually makes the battle a lot more easier. So, in the final battle of Al no Kiseki,
right?
You have I think there might be 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
You actually don't kill the final one because he'll spawn 4 more of them. If you keep that one alive, he won't spawn the rest.
Well, I thought you still had to take it out before.
Yep.
Because I think he can use them to revert the battle back to the beginning or some shit.
Yep. But if you actually keep it the one, he's more likely not to do it.
Okay.
So, well, from what I played, yeah. So I'm just like, eh. But Yeah, I just found that out, and I was just like, oh, that made the battle so much easier. So, because he would respawn them like within 2 turns, and it just it frustrated me so much. But well, okay, if it's not going to be Senno Kiseki the Third, do you think that the quote-unquote church would have a presence in the third game?
Well, like, what is this announcement exactly saying? Is it
It's
saying
it's not an announcement. It's Kondo slip of the tongue.
Oh, okay.
And I think he's like, oh shit, we just confirmed that we're working on a follow-up to. We're working on another. And he actually specifically said, he didn't just say a follow-up to Legend of Heroes, he specifically said a follow-up to the Airbonian story. That was his words. And it was also his words, and I got to say to him, and I this is the last piece of news I want to iterate, and it's not really news so much. I just want to say this to Kondo and everyone at Falcom, especially Kondo. He loves Prophecy of the Moonlight Witch. Another discussion came up with him saying that he and everyone else at Falcom wants to remake that game. And they're talking about, it's like, do it. You guys obviously love that game so much. Go and remake it.
It's definitely better than... Because I honestly haven't finished Oriuta. No, what is it? Umi no Oriuta? Cage Song of... Whatever, though. It's such a weird word. Or weird title. But Cage Song. And I have not finished that. But I have beaten the other two. White Witch and Tear of Vermilion. Tear of Vermilion kind of sucks.
It's okay. There is a few good scenes in that game, I will say that now. But there is a lot of mess scenes as well. I will agree with that.
It's got some good music, and I think it plays better overall compared to White Witch. But White Witch is actually a really fun kind of game to play and to just go through it, and the final battle and the I'll send a link to at least you, or if I can remember to put it up. But the song Queen Isabella, like any version of that song, the PC-88 one's pretty cool as well. But it's just such a fucking awesome. It fills you with a bit of dread, and the whole, this is the ending, and how there's a character in each of these games because they take place in 3 different regions at different stretches of time. I want to say like it's over a 70-year period or something like, or like a 50-year period. It's over a long period of time. And there's one character from White Witches, which is at the end of the timeline of those 3 games, and he appears in the other 2 games as well. And it's pretty cool how that kind of all interconnects and everything.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm interested in the Gagap series, and I'm glad I played one of them, Tear of Vermilion, and then White Witch is next, even though I've actually played a bit of the Saturn version, which was interesting. But,
do you have Cage Song?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the most expensive game before it went stupidly expensive. I think I paid $70. It's like, that's kind of a little bit much. Now it goes for like 150, 200. So like, I just dodged a big bullet.
Because I had a hard time finding, because I was trying to find not the super priced version of it when I was still in Japan, and I was having a really hard time finding just the regular standard version of it. And I was like, this game, like the PC one I found no problem, but this one's just like nowhere to be found. And I really want to play more of it because I like a little bit of the ideas of it, but I don't quite know how it all kind of transpires and stuff. And you have these really young characters. I mean, it's the same with White Witch. You start off with, you have your main characters are really young, and Cage Song, they're really young as well. But one of the characters' grandfather's with them, and he's like this kind of renowned traveler, and he can play this instrument really well and stuff. And I think the dog goes with him as well. And that's all I know. Like I've seriously only played it to like get to the second town. I'm like, and each time I start to play it, I get caught up in something else. So I need to really sit down and actually play it, because I don't know. Like that's kind of like in the Gagaf trilogy. That's like the biggest, blackest hole of unknown for me because I'm just kind of like, oh, don't know what's really going on with this.
It's kind of understandable too because it's actually kind of wouldn't say the hardest to get, but it's actually on the least systems. Like it's on, I don't know if it's actually PC 98, but I know it's on Windows and it's on PSP. That's it. Like compared to White Witch and Tear of Vermilion, they're on a ton of different devices.
And I wonder why that is. I don't know if they just don't like that game as much, or if it's just one that they've never really got around, or they liked it, what they did of it, and they're just content with that still, and they've just been bogged down with other ideas. But
I guess so, yeah. Because I think White Witch is probably the best selling of the Gargoyle trilogy. I don't know that, but it's definitely the most universally loved. Like, I've seen photos, I've seen the live Falcom events where people will throw up copies of Moonlight Witch, and I'm like, interesting. Like, I thought most of these people will all be Kiseki fans more than anything. No, there's some Gargoyle fans there.
Well, and it's cool to see from at least Tear of Vermilion and White Witch to see the progression from those two, and then the little bit that I have played of Cage Song to see the progression from those three games to what leads into the Kiseki series and how it evolved from that. And it's really cool to see that the pacing was very, especially for the first one. The first one is such a wonderful nod and just kind of like this is the way we've liked games, so this is how we're going to do it. And because she's traveling the kingdom on foot and everything and going around it and everything, it's such a knockback to those games, and then to go from that to what they do with the other games and how you don't a little bit, but I mean in SC it's a very differently paced in that regard, traveling wise. In the third, it's entirely different. You could kind of yell at it for being quote unquote linear to a point, but and then. And you've seen how Zero and Ao no Kiseki do it. It's very different.
Yeah. Well, I actually got the same vibe I did from FC that I did in Zero. The one reason I like these great overarching Legend of Heroes stories from Falcom is the first game is there to basically explain the area. It's supposed to make you familiar with the locale, to introduce all the characters, the locales, and everything. And then the second game just tells a much grander tale. This is something that this is how Suikoden started as well. A lot of people tell me they don't want to play. Should I play the first game? I don't feel the need to. Yes, you do. It's a game that explains the world of Suikoden, the True Runes, everything. It's a great exposition dump, and then you go into Suikoden 2 with all that information.
And even though 2 has a lot more emotional pull, there are still incredibly emotional things that go on in 1. I mean, there's just some where you're just like, oh, sock it to the gut there. You're just like, ugh. Yeah.
And same with the Kiseki games. Would you agree with Sen? Because I've noticed with Sen, you're going around to the different sort of provinces of the Ibonian Empire.
Yeah, it's different though, because like you go to these different sections by train and then you explore the areas because they're so expansive. Yeah. Which, okay, that's fine, but it does feel like there is that disconnect where with Zeto you start at a central point and then you branch out. In FC, you start at point A and you make your way back to it, kind of things, so to say. I mean, you're going around the kingdom, and Sen, yeah, I mean, because it's like, think of Zero, but then making it a bunch of different areas, so you have that starting point, and then you branch out from those little, from the towns and stuff, and it's.
I would say a little bit more linear, because once you're in that new section, you can't go back to Trista, where it's
right.
But you don't need to because these towns supply everything you need. So
right. So yeah, you can't just kind of run back to it. You're stuck there doing everything there.
Which you could do in Zero now for the most part. You could return to Crossbell, except in the
Right. Except for certain parts in OW and in Zeta, there's a few parts in Zeta that you can't just. Yep, going back to town.
Like, just kudos to Falcom for creating some memorable stuff, because I played so many RPGs and I forget most places, you know. I love Dragon Quest, but man, trying to remember all the towns in fucking 4 and 5 and 6, good luck with that. But with the Kiseki series, they're memorable. They really stand the test of time, you know. Like you know, especially Crossbow series. Crossbow series, you've got Aurora Village. And then you've got the St. Ursula's College, and you've got Maine's Mining Town. And there's so many memorable. And you got, of course, Bellegarde, and what's the other one? It could be, no, Tangram Gate. That's a Tangram Gate.
No, on the east side.
Yeah. Yeah, just like, because you have to go back to them so much, and they're for good reasons. It won't, sorry, don't worry, people, it's not backtracking. Like, I don't understand why that's such a bad word these days.
Well, I mean, if it can be like, it's like using when something's redundant. Sure, the games you're playing are going to have repetition, but when it's redundant, you're just like, it's repetition to boredom.
And I can agree, some games, like, you know, okay, the Kiseki series, they do it perfectly for me. I like going back to different areas because they have new reasons, all that. A big offender recently, Breath of Fire 1. There's one part of the game where you have to go through a dungeon 3 times for some of the most stupidest reasons.
that just doesn't everybody want to do that? Don't they want to go through dungeons like 8,000 times?
Yeah,
that's
that's where I kind of pushed the limit. Now they did, like, they could have like totally chopped that down, but didn't. So I could sort of understand from that sort of point of view. But yeah, Senno no Kiseki 3 is unofficially announced by the president himself, which pretty much means and it makes me sad because it's like each state doesn't exist.
Doesn't.
Oh, hurry up, man. My heart breaks. It really does. Oh well. Like, and because I'm in the dumps about this, it's just going to be so awesome when it comes out of nowhere.
Well, isn't it slated for next year?
There's no date still. This is up in the air. No information, no screenshots, no nothing.
Well, that means there's plenty of time for you to replay East 5.
I've played it twice. That's kind of generous. I bet if I'm going to play it again, I'm going to find a way to play my PS2 copy, because I do own that as well.
Have you played Expert, fool?
I'm not going.
Oh!
Seriously, I'm not going to. I mean, there's a part of the Falcom that I play every version of East, but it's like, this doesn't offer anything new music, art, or story-wise. It's the same game, just slightly harder. You know? It's a difficulty change. I'll buy the game because it has some cool new artwork on the box, but that's $90. But yeah, I don't
that's a little
think
cheaper now. Well, I guess because of the exchange rate. So now's your chance, Greg. Get it, snatch it up.
I should check it out, but I mean, definitely get it, but I don't know if I have the time just to play it. Like, maybe in the future, but I think by the time that happens, hopefully Falcom
will be out.
Well, not even that. Falcom will actually have the remake by the time I'll play it again. So, I mean, I recently just played 6 again, and that was kind of like my 3rd time playing it. So, yeah. So I'm kind of done. It's sort of my minimal East quota for the year. So we'll see what happens. I really hope they bring out more news, because I was so excited with the setting and the promise of characters returning. Just it's left to the wind.
Dashed.
I know. It's just it's not dashed. It's just in the wind. It's like trying to catch pedals in the wind, basically. But yeah. So, to anyone wondering what they're working on, Senno no Kiseki 3, which is the 4th game in their itinerary, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, Kodokan Games is going to be releasing FC Evolution in a couple of days, so
absolutely no thanks. I don't need to see Super Titty Estelle to. I mean, God damn it, no.
You may not like one of the special editions box arts then.
Oh god, that's
Well,
gross.
you know me, I'm gonna get it anyway. But, because it's all Falcom goodness. But at the same time, Karani, screw you. Screw you for saying, we're gonna take more of Greg's money. Like, no. And I called it too. I wasn't, like, shocked that they were gonna do 2 different variations on the special edition. But at the same time, it's just like, god damn it. I
have Kai. I'm content with Kai. I don't need another version of the game. I've got the original, the PSP versions of them, and I've got the Kai versions on the PS3. I am set. Cool. I'm cool with it.
There is a lot of changes to the Evolution version that I'm interested in seeing, so I'm definitely going to be getting it. But I'm probably going to get the normal variation, because fuck me, I still don't even have Al's swimsuit variation box set, because I'm not made of $300, which is crazy. But but that's kind of the thing with being a Falcom fanatic. It's my favorite form of collecting video games. Like, I don't collect many video games these days, but I do get a severe kick when I do get a Falcom game. So I'm sort of relentless, like, if that even budges to 200 to 150, that's when I'll actually slap down the thought of actually buying it. So, and I've bought, most of my Falcom stuff, I've bought for a good sum of money. So, just thing I love doing, man. I know, I haven't reached that point. A good shout out to a YouTuber, doesn't make videos anymore, but he's an awesome YouTuber, though. He's Splatter Trigger. Putting down that $3,000 for the working designs special edition of a game from E3. It was like rare or something.
Oh, what was that? Was that gun? What the hell was that?
Yeah,
Gun
I was
bolt?
just like, I was like, that's, oh my goodness, that's pretty cool.
That's some ballsy work there to have done that. And I highly doubt he's listening, but hi, Spider Chick. I miss talking to you.
but at the same time, it's like I think Falcom would be the one company that I would tempt spending a lot of money on, because I always keep up with like the American East games that are just ridiculous for graphics. They're crazy prices, like especially if they get it graded.
Oh jeez, yeah.
They like people get the Wonders from
grade these nuts. So I think of that. That's stupid bullshit.
Because most of the people that get a hold of Wonders of East on TurboGrafx 16, they grade that shit and sell for $1,000. And it's like, and it's funny because the Japanese version goes for like $5, $5 to $10, like for just a shabby copy.
People, come on. You know, if worse comes to worse, just buy the damn Japanese version and just look at a fucking walkthrough or something.
And honestly, it's not one. It's the music's amazing, but gameplay wise, it's not one of the best versions of Wonders of East. Like,
that
it has
because
issues.
it's out in Felgana.
Well, that in the Mega Drive version is just amazing. Like, oh man, and I was so happy that was the version I played as a child. I was just like, oh great, I played the best version of Wonders of East as a child. I have no complaints. And then, yeah, from Felgana came along, so it's not a necessity. It's just pretty cool if you're a Falcom fanatic like myself. So. Yeah, and I think I'll end that. And yeah, there will be a lot of Falcom talk like that on Trusler and Mac, and it's amazing. Like, I get a kick out of just talking about it, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of months. I don't think they actually have a concert planned anytime soon. I know come TGS this season, they'll have a bunch of them, and there'll be a lot of Tokyo Xanadu music for sure. So, and a lot of favorites that they like to pull. Like, what's some of the more constant ones I like to pull? From Sora no Kiseki. Sometimes you'll hear Silver Will.
Yeah, that's always a big one. I mean, that's the song that got me even into the series, because I had heard it off of one of those. I wish I could think of which one it was, but one of those top 100 RPG battle themes or something. And it was the one that was listed as number 2 or something. But I heard that, and that's what actually got me even interested in the series, because I never even heard of it, and it just kind of went from there. And because of that, I listened to some of the music, and I was like, okay. And then when I had the chance, I bought FC. I think I bought the trilogy, and then I played that right as Zeta was announced and stuff, and I was like, sweet, kind of thing. But it's Silver Will is like, as much as I like that song and I'm happy that it got me into it, I find a lot of other songs are a lot better or more enjoyable for me than that one. I mean,
there's another piece. I keep forgetting the name they like to do. It's not Overloading Heavenly Bliss. I think they've played it.
They
once
do
or
that
twice.
one a lot. They do that one a lot too. That Ernst comes up.
Yeah, they like to do Ernst a lot, and it's awesome. I remember one thing they did, and they did the Promise. I keep forgetting the full name. It's like the Promise. It's kind of like it's pretty much the song that gave the name the Oath and Folgana, the Promise, and it's the song that plays when that during Elena is basically. I know it's a slight spoiler, but when Elena is in Valstein Castle, but I think Kurtera's version of that nearly had me like tearing up. That was so good.
It's really good. That song is just really, really good. Like some of their CDs, at least the Falcom CDs, not the JDK band ones, but the ones where they have the vocals for different songs. They have one for Kohaku no Ai, which is the song that is played by a certain. How to describe him? Because he's not a louse, but he sort of is. Kind of, but not. But
oh my god! And he's still everyone's favorite character.
Is he?
From the trailer, you talk about Oliver, right?
Right.
Yeah, he's number one in the character polls.
But yeah, he's the one that plays it, and they actually have a vocal version of it and everything, and it's like. That's done by like the actual company, not just JDK band. If that makes any sense, because I've never heard him like perform it as a band. I might have, but I don't not recall that. But they like that song does just whew.
And they do a lot of Zero and Our music, like Way of Life is one that Kotaro likes to rock out. And Inevitable Struggle is probably my favorite of Zero. I love that track so much.
That's a really good one. The Evolution one, I know you didn't like some of it as much.
Yeah.
But I love with the Evolution they enhanced it and they put in saxophones and they made it a lot more rocky and stuff. It's
cool. Like, it's weird that I like the original PSP one. The Our Evolution one, I think, is actually 50-50, because I've listened to, like, the Mystic Core version of Evolution. That's really good. And Unfathomed Force for Evolution is also really good.
Actually, this is kind of like a weird-ass tangent, but there's one of the doujinshi that I listened to years ago, Sword of Justice, SOJ.
I love them.
Well, no, it's a guy. It was just a guy from what
Oh, seriously, it's a guy? I assumed it was a band.
No, I don't think so. I think it was just a guy because he puts he uses programs to make the other kind of music for it and stuff. He does the guitar like a part of the guitar stuff for Falcom. And I found this out, and he did like the Evolutions, the Azure Arbitrator at the end. He does a part of the guitar stuff. And to think that he does music with Falcom.
Wow. Yeah. That's... Holy crap, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. And I just randomly was looking on his site, and I was like, cool. And then I seen his discography, whatever the fuck. Things where he's been credited, and that, just some of the music and, that. And I was just like, that's awesome. Good job, Sword of Justice.
See, awesome job, Sword of Justice, but this is the thing we've always known about Falcom is they've never kicked fans in the balls. Like back in the days when they had no one supporting them in America, they basically gave the fan translators here, go full reign. We're so happy that you're going to have people playing our games. I know it's sad we can't turn a profit, but we're just happy people can play our games. That's why I love Falcom so much. And this continues with the fact they must listen to so many doujinshi artists making their music, and then they go, wow, this guy is awesome. Let's hit him up.
Right.
So kudos to them, man. Just like they have this wonderful community. It's funny though. I'm not going to get into it, but the translating community here, ever since Falcom Games got localized officially, it's kind of left the translation community here in shambles. Like, I'm not going into it, but it's a fucking crapshoot. It really is. Like, people I don't want to go into it because it's just, it's creepy. It's fucking creepy what I've seen happen recently, you know?
Huh.
So,
All right, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know there's still people outside of the normal translation community that sort of trying their hand, and they're sort of new to it. Those are the people I wish the best. You know, they're new to it. They seem to have like gone on board and say, hey, these games are amazing. Why aren't they localized? We'll try our hand at it. Those people are awesome. Like, I still haven't played Naya's translation yet. I'll probably have to get on that soon.
Completely forgot that they did that.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of got the Gaga of Bandai treatment where it's like it's translated, but it's not edited. So yeah, that turns out.
That one I actually like a lot, despite being kind of I don't know. I just like that game a lot. A lot of the music's really good.
And it's fun. It's really fun. Like I said, I think I've said to him before. It brings back the old school platforming days where they had sort of like the challenges, like collect so many of this. That's one thing I like about, as much as I have this huge love-hate relationship with the DK series, I used to go apeshit to try and get all the DK coins. Just that was kind of like the number one thing I like to do on those games. So, yeah. I think I'm all Falcomed out. Finally. Yeah, that's it from me.
I think we leave it at that. That was a lot.
Yeah.
The end. I don't know. Is there really much you do want to kind of discuss outside of that?
Actually, you know what? I think we'll call it a day for that. Like, we had something in mind, but I think we'll probably go back to the drawing board and see if we can add more to it before we discuss it. You know,
it would probably be better because we'd probably botch it. Especially I will probably botch it.
Yeah. And hey, leaving off podcast talking about two Falcom fans, just gushing about the reasons why Falcom's awesome. I think that's the best note to leave off. So.
I think we already lost everybody like 20 minutes ago. But
I know. I was going to reiterate, like, we're throwing out words like Gagav and Kiseki, just to reiterate, they're all sort of like sagas of the Legend of Heroes franchise. Just to anyone that's lost, so
that's still following us.
Because the thing with me, because we were discussing Sora no Kiseki before it was called Trials in the Sky, so when I'm ever talking to Taylor, I just find it easier to call it Sora no Kiseki. Whereas, like, if I'm talking to other friends, I'll call it Trials in the Sky. Because if I actually call it Kiseki, they actually don't know what I'm talking about. So I actually have to say Trails in the Sky or Trails of Zero or Trails of Azure, which I'm now calling it from that. I know I don't call it Trails of Blue anymore. And then Trails of Cold Steel, which I think is a cool name. So, yeah.
The end.
The end. It sounds like I'm going for round two, but no, we'll end it right there.
So yeah, but as Greg said, it's totally good to just have two Falcom fans gush for like 30 minutes about Falcom stuff and then wrap it up. So that's it. Anybody have any opinions, questions, or what have you? Just totally leave us down below in the thingamajig there, and enjoy your Saturday morning.
Yes, I agree. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it now.
With that, everyone, I hope you have a good weekend and hope you have a good week.
Where